Hey everybody, welcome back to LegitStreetCars. My name is Alex, and a few videos ago I showed you guys an upgraded valve body for my E55 AMG. And in that video, I went for a test drive at the end, and that was a one-take test drive, meaning that the first time I put the car in drive with the new valve body, you guys saw it on camera. And in that video, I expressed how much I loved how quickly the car shifted at wide open throttle, whether it was the upshift or the downshift. But I did have concerns with the harsh downshift when you were coasting to a stop. Let me just roll you guys a clip and pay attention to how much my body sways when it downshifts. The downshifts, yeah, you can kind of like see me move a little bit. They are pretty harsh going down. So I also mentioned in the video that I was gonna let the transmission adapt over about 1,000 miles or so, and I've done that. And I am here to report to you that the downshift did get better while coasting, but to be honest with you, it's just not good enough for what I'm doing with this car. This is not an all-out drag car, so I do want it to be relatively smooth when I'm just putzing around town. So in this video, I'm going to replace the valve body again with a totally different one that promises to correct this harshness on the downshift. And also I was having an issue with 3 to 4 when it would shift from 3 to 4. Normally driving around town, it was just banging it into gear, which I didn't really enjoy either. So let me show you guys the goodies. The valve body's gonna look the same, but I got something new for you guys in this video that I think you might like. All right, and here is my table full of parts, and we have a ton going on here at LegitStreetCars. We have BMW M5 rotors and a bunch of other parts for that car. We have C63 intake tubes. We have our C63 billet engine mounts that finally came in, so I can finally install these long tube headers and mufflers. We have our high pressure pump for the diesel, but today we are focusing on this stuff right here. This is the new valve body for the E55. This is from Victory Road Performance. It's their street version valve body. So this should correct all of our harshness when we're just normally driving around town. And something that I found to be very interesting is, if you guys remember in the first video where I did the valve body on the E55, I said, I think a couple times, that the 1 to 2 shift felt stock, and that's because it was. That valve body actually didn't modify 1 to 2 at all, and this one does. So this should make the 1 to 2 shift a lot quicker. So very excited to test that out. And this time I'm going to be pairing this valve body with this guy right here, a high capacity transmission pan. Now this is made of aluminum. It's very, very thick. It's made in the United States as well. Very well built. And it holds 1.5 more quarts, and it has the cooling fins. So those things combined are going to lower the transmission fluid temperatures, which can extend the life of the transmission. So this is from Victory Road Performance as well. I'll obviously leave links and a coupon code for you guys down below in the description box. But this guy right here is 280 bucks. This one is 550, and we are getting rid of the transmission pan gasket with this transmission pan, and we're going to be moving to black RTV. So let's get to installing our valve body. Then I'll show you how this whole situation goes here, if there's anything we need to modify or change to install it. This is the first time for me. And then we are resetting adaptations before our test drive with this guy. All right, our brand new valve body and transmission pan is installed. This took me about an hour and a half, and any one of you guys can do this at home. You don't need to pay a shop to swap out the valve body and trans pan on these cars. It's very, very straightforward. So the valve body went in just like a factory one, no difference at all. And this trans pan, there was really no fuss. They give you really nice instructions with colored pictures. You get all new bolts. They give you torque specs. So these are 7 foot-pounds. The drain plug is 20 foot-pounds, and you no longer need to swap over the factory magnet right there because the drain plug has one at the very tip of it. So this went in very, very easily. Don't use too much RTV. You don't need all that much. And I did use blue Loctite on the threads of these bolts, and it doesn't look like you lose any ground clearance, and it holds 1.5 to 2 quarts more. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the transmission. We'll start off with about 6 quarts and then check it as it warms up. And then I'll be resetting transmission adaptations. All right, so I've just put in about 6 quarts of transmission fluid, and this is the special dipstick tool that you have to use to check the fluid level on any of these 5-speed automatics on the Mercedes and the Chrysler products. I'll put a link down below to one of these. You get them on Amazon. They're only about like 20 bucks or so. So at this point, I've warmed up the engine, but the transmission itself isn't up to proper operating temperature just yet. But as you can see, we're at a good starting point, and then as I drive the car, I'll pull over a couple times and check the transmission fluid level until we have it just right. All right, guys, we have my super old computer connected. We're gonna go into the transmission control unit. Okay, we're gonna go down to adaptation and display and reset of adaptation data. Resetting of adaptation data down here. F2. Do I really want to do this? Yep. Okay, it's been reset. So this is definitely the best way to do this. Some guys will disconnect the battery for like an hour, but if you can get access to the factory program, that is definitely ideal. All right, guys, we are driving around in the E55. And unlike before, I actually drove this car around for the last like 20 minutes or so because the way that the transmission adapts after you start driving it actually does change the way that the transmission feels quite a bit, especially around town. So I wanted to give this kind of a more fair shake, even though this will continually adapt over the next few 100 miles. Now, something I'd said in the original video with the old valve body was that I was looking for someone to tune the valve body. I really wanted to give that one its fair shake because it did shift very quickly at wide open throttle, and I could not find anyone to tune the transmission to give it a little bump in RPM on the downshift, maybe to soften it. I couldn't find anyone that could do anything with it. So this valve body now says that no tuning is required, and I'm gonna have to say I agree. So far, so good. Now this thing, it does still have a little bit of harshness just driving around town, but I'd say it's reduced by about 50% compared to the old valve body. So you can't give it all up. You can't have it both ways where it shifts very, very lightning quick and then has no issues on the downshift. So right there was 2-to-1. That was the one I had the biggest problem with, and I didn't jerk back and forth at all. So that's what I've been kind of noticing with this is before with the old valve body, and that was from a company called Southern Hot Rod, and very good company to deal with, guys. And they told me this is a harsh valve body, so they knew it from the get-go. I knew that it might be harsh as well. I just didn't realize how bad it would be in a more luxurious car like this. But with that valve body, every single downshift coasting down, you know, would shake the car around. With this one, I'm noticing that it's just the 2-to-1, and it's not really that bad, but you can definitely feel it still. But I would say this is completely acceptable. And what I do like is the 1-to-2 shift is very firm, very crisp, along with all the other ones. They're all very uniform. They feel exactly the same, whereas before the 1-to-2 was kind of mushy, just like the stock valve body. So what I did save for you guys that we could do together for the first time was the wide open throttle runs. I have not done any of those yet. I've just been driving around, and yeah, so far I would recommend the valve body. But here, let's slow down a little bit. All right, we're going 30 just like before. All right, oh, we broke traction. Oh yeah. All right, guys. It still shifts really, really quickly. I mean, these tests are kind of hard to compare exactly, but I'd say that shifts just as fast as the one before. I mean, it's really hard to tell any difference. I mean, and what I really like is the lightning downshift. That is something that these things are lacking for sure from the factory. The downshift seems to take like forever. So let me turn around, we'll do that one more time. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. Oh Jesus, this thing is so fast, guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell from the video, but the shifts are lightning quick, so I don't think we sacrificed really anything in that department. And watch this as I come to a coast. All right, that's it. Honestly, I didn't even feel it at all. So that was very factory on the way down, which is huge, guys. I mean, before, every time it was bum, 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 and then 3 to 4 just normally driving around has improved again by probably about 50%. Before it would just slam into gear, and it was not fun at all. Like, even my wife noticed it. She would drive this car sometimes. I don't know if you can see, but I got baby seats in the back, so we use this thing quite a bit. And she was just like, what's wrong with the car? I told her what was going on, and she's like, yeah, you should probably change that out. But yeah, so far so good, guys. Drivability is fantastic. Let's do one more wide open throttle run though. I know we're not gonna get any traction, but let's try this anyway. Oh yeah. Woo! That puts a huge smile on my face. Oh my gosh, these things shift so slow from the factory. Oh, that was so nice. Oh my gosh, hang on a second. And that 1 to 2 is just really nice now. Oh yeah, this is great, guys. So, I mean, you know, it's still got some way more harshness than factory, but completely acceptable for a performance car. Actually, my C63 with the 722.9, it's got a little bit of a, you know, a jolt when you're coming down, but this is nice. Look at this, we're coming down, barely anything. You know, you can kind of feel it still, but okay. So anyway, guys, this one gives, I give this my seal of approval, okay? I'm sorry it took a little bit longer to come out with this video. I know some of you guys had been emailing me and waiting for this update, but this is the valve body I would get. I think these are the only 2 on the market, so you don't really have too many options, but this one is really nice for driving around town, and I know that it's gonna get even better as the transmission adapts. So after resetting the adaptations, you need to drive it like a couple 100 miles. We've only gone maybe 15 at most, not even today. So anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this update video, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button, share the video, subscribe if you're new, and most importantly, check out all the links in the video description box and the coupon code. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.